Hey guys, welcome to Stripped Astrology with Sarah. So this segment is going to be on Leo woman and Scorpio men. So honestly, this one is kind of funny. It's just a funny pairing because they're so different in so many ways, but at the same time they have like this crazy passionate energy. Like it's really the definition of like a hate-love relationship. And because they just feel so strongly about each other, but at the same time they are so different in so many ways. You know, Leo woman obviously thinks that she's like the ultimate shit, and like Scorpio, like, you know, thinks that the sign of the lion is a piece of shit. Like it's just that simple. So these two are very explosive personalities who couldn't have like less in common. And since they are both fixed signs, like good luck finding, you know, common ground, because fixed signs are very stubborn, so they do not easily bend, you know, so one of you has to definitely be the one that kind of, you know, compromises every once in a while. I mean, I'm betting it's probably going to be the Leo woman, because Scorpio man doesn't compromise unless he has something to gain from it. So, you know, for it to really work long term, you know, you guys have to compromise a little bit because of that fixed aspect. So both of you guys can be stubborn as fuck. So one of you has to surrender eventually. But I mean, honestly, if I were you, I'd probably just abandon all hope and run, because, you know, Scorpio men, if you listen to my Scorpio men podcast, like, you would run away. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Don't worry. Don't be too worried. But they do have a lot of traits, and I would definitely recommend that you do listen to my Scorpio man episode, just so at least you can know what to expect, so you're not blindsided by anything. Like, that's my advice to you. But go for it, totally. But anyways, let me tell you how this relationship works without the jokes. Okay, so the Leo woman is typically very flirtatious, okay? And Scorpio is like intensely serious and difficult to satisfy. Yet there's like a very powerful attraction between them that's not gonna go away easily. Like a very, you know, compelling sexual relationship. And it's going to be a success as long as Leo doesn't make Scorpio jealous, like by flirting, you know, too much. And Scorpio pretty much gets jealous by like literally anything. So he could easily get jealous even by, like, say you receiving like some flirtatious remark from another guy, but you didn't reply. Like that could easily make him jealous. And, you know, Leo tend to like capture the attention of like many adoring men. So these are both powerhouse signs in the elements of water and fire. So both these signs are like literal sexual superstars in their own mind. And when they come together, you know, that Pluto co-rule of Scorpio and the sun ruler of Leo create like a very intense sexual chemistry. And Scorpio's, you know, like predatory tendency to kind of look for the weak spots in his partner is probably going to mark the end of the relationship for the Leo woman, because she's not the type that's going to like let him give in to that at all. She's gonna, like, you know, hit right back hard, and it's very difficult for Leo's pride to like withstand like any kind of rude judgmental remark or sting like remark like Scorpio tends to do. And, you know, Scorpio is like desperate to take off the mask that the Leo woman wears, and Leo woman of course has like no intention of taking her mask off. So this can cause a lot of problems in the long run, and typically this relationship will be like purely sexual. They'll just get like straight to fucking right away, and Scorpio will really hit hard with flirting in this one. And, you know, but he's not gonna give like too much investment in the long run, at least not right away, because he's just gonna sense like, okay, this isn't my type of girl. Like I like her, I'm crazy about her, but he's just gonna sense that it's not gonna work out that well in the long run. He's gonna feel like it's not really worth it. You know, he can't control her or manipulate her easily. So that is probably the main reason why he's gonna feel it's not gonna work out. And then Leo, of course, you know, she's a big flirter, so she's gonna flirt with him big time in the beginning, just like double on what he's flirting with her. So, you know, Leos tend to like find, you know, Scorpios very sexy and mysterious, just like most women of the Zodiac do. And like sometimes she can find him a combination of just annoying and flat out boring, you know, sometimes, from how different they are. She is much more a man-eater than he is a womanizer, okay, that's for sure. And there's a certain lack of sophistication in their relationship, and that sexual tension only continues to build as their relationship goes on. So there might be something reminiscent about him to her, like reminding her maybe of like an old ex or maybe even her father. And I'll tell you why that is in a second. But so even though she appears like, you know, like maybe intrigued by him, she admits that he pushes like all her emotional buttons. And Scorpio senses that there's like a certain benefit to the relationship with the Leo woman, because he feels more than most men that the Leo woman is definitely going places and she's definitely very talented. But still, he also like knows that a relationship with the Leo woman is definitely going to test his patience big time, you know, since she's not easily controlled or manipulated, like I said. And Scorpio is definitely like a big controlling person and a manipulative person. So, you know, he has to become patient. He has to learn to be more patient. And sometimes he will force himself to be patient if he's like using her, you know, to further maybe his social status or like money-wise or career-wise. Then sometimes he can like force himself to be patient if he's gaining something out of it. But she feels that he has a depth in him that she usually doesn't see in other men. And, you know, it's usually how most women feel when they meet him until they realize that that depth is really just like, you know, a darkness that you do better to stay far, far away from. So just like most women, you know, like, you know, think that, okay, well, he has like this really intriguing, you know, personality and like maybe he's going to provide me, you know, like with some healthy grounding, but usually just ends up, you know, exploding at the end. Like there's no healthy grounding there. And Leo is not the type of woman that's going to be easily manipulated or controlled, okay? That woman is a lioness. She's represented by the goddess Diana in Greek mythology, and you guys know the goddess Diana, you know, she's the character in Wonder Woman and all that. And she is a very powerhouse type female, a very confident female, confident in her own skin. And she knows what she's capable of. And, you know, Scorpio tend to go for like the weaker type woman. So it's not going to be a match made in Scorpio heaven for sure. You know, he wants a woman that like represents the virgin type, not like the lioness type. So this relationship is very much like a meeting of minds per se. And that's like another way of me just saying it's psychological hell. But anyways, guys, like, you know, Scorpio rules Leo's third house. Which like is of your house and like where you're living, and that's what highlights that concept of heredity, which kind of suggests, you know, like history repeating itself, either by like Leo's own experience in love or like reminding her maybe of like a family pattern or like a father figure, like I mentioned. But in any case though, this relationship tends to send red flags to the Leo woman, which like constantly will hear like this little voice in her head going off like, he's not the one, he's not the one, he's not the one, like just leave, he's not the one. But still, because of that strong sexual attraction, she's not going to be able to leave right away, you know. So yeah, there will still be something that just brings her back to him. And she may wish it were, you know, opposite than that. She may wish it were otherwise. And they will often, you know, break up with like this unrequited love feeling. And Leo in turn, you know, rules Scorpio's 10th house. And that's the house of like professional reputation, public image, etc. So he may very well be aware of the prospect that like being with her might ultimately expand his like reputation or like public potential. So he truly believes in Leo, and he knows that her large ambitions are going to take her very far in life. So psychologically, you know, we already mentioned that this couple tends to be like very complicated in the regard that he feels that he can't control her. So like when he's gonna try to give her like some rude or sarcastic remark, like, you know, she will fucking like slap him right back. Like she's not gonna let him get away with it. And he can tend to be like in the beginning stage, like when he's flirting, he can tend to almost be like a little kid, you know, like a little boy when he's flirting with a girl he likes and he's like punching her just to like get her attention. Like he can tend to be like that a lot in his stupid like remarks. but Leo woman has like big confidence, and this like just takes him off his mark. He's not used to being with women that are that strong and confident. Like he usually aims, like I said, for the weaker types or the shyer types or the more giggly types that like like laugh at empathy. He says like, oh my god, you're so funny. Oh my god, I'm so shy. Oh my god, don't look at me. Like that's the type that he will usually go for. Okay, so the Leo woman typically is not his type. So it's like the direction of where his emotions are going with this woman is definitely something new to him and something he hasn't experienced before. And he's not used to a woman that's so confident and like hits him right back, you know, when he dares to fire a punch at her. But he can't like hide his feelings for her because they're very strong, you know. So but the thing that mainly keeps these two together is that signature sexual appeal that I talked about earlier. You know, Leo is definitely going to feel like Scorpio shows like deep emotions during sex, you know, just like a more nurturing form than she imagined. And this kind of opens her eyes, you know, like making her examine like why it is that this man that she viewed as like angry, like ends up being so sweet in bed. And there's a potential for a lot of sexual healing in this relationship. But the challenge here is like letting the Scorpio man, letting his inhibitions fall. And, you know, because she likely has the experience to like make comparisons between him and other men, and he doesn't like that. That's why he tends to like women who are inexperienced. So he needs to like let go of that fear of his and just like, you know, ignore that fact. And that goes a long way to explain, you know, his usual taste in like, you know, the more inexperienced type woman. And Leo, of course, you know, considers herself good in bed, but here she learns that it's not more about like learned techniques. It's more about like the sensual mood and like just going with the flow of your body. And she just needs to allow her body to like move and not her mind to like, you know, go by like the certain movements or techniques that she's used to, and just really, you know, be all in that moment. So the fact that Leo is ruled by the sun goes a long way in melting the Scorpio's like cold heart. And it's just a symptom of him being, you know, the only fixed water sign. And like I said, you know, fixed water just turns into ice. So in this relationship, the sex is probably the only way that can make it work. So you would have to keep like your sex lives like intact for this to really work. And they will probably, you know, have sex a lot. They will probably use it to confront any psychological or emotional blocks in their in their relationship. And this, you know, can have a very kind of like effect, like emotional effect when they are in bed together. It could almost be like if you were to imagine like a couple, you know, crying in bed together, it'd probably be these two. But as their barriers break down, they will like just feel more free to completely be themselves. And don't forget too that Leo, you know, tend to be, you know, can be like very aggressive during sex, like slapping and, you know, doing like crazy weird stuff. And the Scorpio man is gonna like dominate the fuck out of her if she tries to do that. He's not gonna let that go. You know, he's not gonna let her get away with like slapping him or clawing at him, you know, like a lion or something. Like he's gonna dominate her, but not in an abusive way, just like in a sexual type of way. So anyways, you guys can see, you know, this relationship, it's definitely one of the popular ones, but it's usually popular in the shorter term, not in the longer term. Unless, of course, like I said, you have other signs and elements in your birth chart that come together well. But still, it's a challenge. It's one of the more challenging ones for sure. You know, my Venus sign, for instance, is Leo, and that Scorpio ex I dated, like I saw a lot of this dynamic in our relationship. Like even though, you know, my sun sign is Libra, but the fact that my Venus is Leo, so the way I act in love is technically more Leo-like, and his Venus was Scorpio, so it's like a Leo and a Scorpio in love. So I noticed a lot of this dynamic between me and him, that he would get jealous, for instance, of like my confidence, and he wouldn't like that like I have a long like list of admirers, you know, that like, you know, like are always flirting with me. Like he would be sarcastic about it and be like, oh, you're a fan club, like motherfucker, like what the fuck, like, and why are you getting mad at me or jealous at me? It's not like I'm the one who like forced them to flirt with me. I'm not even flirting back. So I can really relate this dynamic to, you know, my ex's relationship, because he really couldn't stand the fact that I was a confident woman that like couldn't be controlled or possessed by him easily. But like I mentioned, you know, Scorpio tends to like admire the fact that Leo women tend to have like a very successful career, good public image, and he definitely took advantage of this from me, you know, the fact that like we had a great public image, and this like went a lot to show, like made him just look better in front of his friends in general. So my advice to you beautiful Leo woman out there is just use this man like sexually, you know, because he's gonna please you in that department, trust me on that. And then if he's not giving you what you deserve, okay, like if he's definitely not giving you what you deserve and he's being an annoying pain in the ass, then that's when I mean like use him in a sexual way. And then when you're done using him that way, just fucking squish him like the motherfucking insect that he is. Like, I know that scorpions aren't insects, they're animals, but they're an insect to me, and he's an insect to me. So just fucking squish the shit out of him like the little insect he is, and tell him that his scorpion stinger is not gonna hurt you, because you are a motherfucking lion, okay? You are a lioness, and no one fucks with a lioness, okay? Did you guys know, like, for instance, that a lioness, like, during heat, will have sex, like, up to, like, 40 times a day? And if her fucking man, like, that lion, can't keep up with her, she will, like, demand to mate by literally biting and, like, tugging at his balls. And his face will be like, oh my god, like, please stop. And she'll be like, no, motherfucker, you're coming back here. I'm not done with you. So if she can do that to a motherfucking lion, imagine what she can do to a fucking scorpion, okay? She would just throw him to the hyenas, because that shit, like, too disgusting for her to eat. Like, she don't fuck with that shit. She needs some good ass meat on her bones, guys. Anyways, thanks. I had a lot of fun with this. This one was really fun, and I hope you gained a lot of information from this video. Thank you, guys. Bye.